Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Best of the Best Businesses in Central Massachusetts. I'm your host, Siobhan Weber with Castanetti Realty Group. With me today is Daniela Schaller. And now, why don't you talk a little bit about the name of your company and what you do? Because it's really fascinating. And I think just giving a quick intro won't really cover the gamut. So talk to us about your company.
Certainly. My name is Daniela Schaller, and I own Embody Your Inner Purpose. And I'm a meditation teacher. I'm also a coach. And it's all about, for me personally, it's all about empowering people to find their own inner purpose, to really step into their power, to connect with themselves so they can actually do some great inner healing for themselves. And this is really achieved through a lot of different ways of doing it. We can do meditation, we can do some coaching. There are a lot of modalities over the last 2 decades that I've gotten under my tool belt in order to get people on the right way.
Perfect. Okay. So what made you get into this business?
A long time ago, I was always interested in furthering myself, knowing more about myself. I was always interested in how energy works and how it affects other people. I think I was for a very long time a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Still to the day, actually.
It can be a hard habit to break. It can be,
Very true.
habit forming.
So knowing for myself over the years, learning meditation and having tools to actually learn more about who I am as a person and being able to distinguish what is my own energy, what is someone else's energy, how am I affected by that, how do I respond to stressful situations and things like that. So it really brought me to wanting to learn and further myself and learn more about myself. And then after doing some initial classes, I got into a program to really learn intuitive meditation tools and started to teach that in workshops and courses. And over the time, that was where it was like, I need to do this full time and on my own, because this is really where my heart is at.
Oh, I love that. It's wonderful when those pieces can come together, sort of a dream realized. How long have you been able to do this full time?
So full time, it's only been since last September.
That's exciting.
It is very
okay,
exciting.
Yeah.
But I've always done it on the side, and I had it a few years back. I had a run at it full time as well. But this time around, it's more like really stepping into the shoes of being an entrepreneur and pulling this off in a bigger way.
I love that. And a few years ago was tricky, right? I mean, I'm sure, people went to telehealth appointments and stuff like that. I know you do some virtual led meditation as well, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it was probably difficult to get your feet under you right when COVID was happening as a new business owner full time, right?
So very much so. So that was quite the challenge, but also a good way to come back to the basics for me and where I wanted to be. And I learned and studied a lot meditation classes throughout virtually and over the phone. Great. So having COVID reinforced that virtual Zoom space, opened up a lot more to people all over the country. I'm from Germany, so I can work with people in Germany. Internationally makes that really easy. And having that accepted as a form of doing things was actually really rewarding.
I love that. It opens up a whole new audience, like you're saying. I mean, they don't have to make it to you, to a studio. You don't have to make it to them. So the whole world can be your studio, which is pretty amazing, especially when you're seeking unique energy and get to meet interesting new people.
You don't need to see a person in front of you
Right.
in order to see their energy or where they're at or work with someone. You can do that very easily through Zoom or even over the phone.
Which is interesting because, I think that historically when people casually talk about picking up a vibe or whatever, it's generally thought to be an in-person thing, but it's true. I mean, any Zoom meeting, all you have to do, the body language comes through so clear, right? And the tone of voice and all of that. So I know you've been full-time since September. Just in your sort of history with doing this kind of work, is there kind of one big challenge or most rewarding thing that stands out to you? Or is it just sort of continually been a work in progress to get you to this point?
I think the most challenging thing is having people see and acknowledge the fact how much hard work one needs to put in order to get to, oh, you're just a meditation teacher, or oh, you're a life coach. Okay. But a lot of hard work, inner hard work, and experiences that have formed the way I would teach something or the way I would coach someone around topics really took a lot of deep inner work for myself and also a lot of like studies to go through in order to give a well-rounded picture, so you really can be supportive of people even who are being affected by traumatic experiences. So, and then knowing all of what I can bring to the table. And sometimes it's hard for people to understand how much really goes into accept the fact that this is the prices that we have.
Yes,
so to speak.
Yes.
So the value of that has been the challenging part of it, but also on the same token, the most rewarding part. Because when I get to work with someone and their light bulb goes off and they get something that they've been stuck on or in a painful experience for a really long time, and they get it, it clicks. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Not really here for the money, even though it needs to pay the bills, right?
Yep.
But it's really for seeing people stepping into their own power and owning it. And it's not about giving advice and getting people there, but really just asking the right questions, just supporting them in the right way that it clicks for themselves.
And that, I mean, by the way, right, just said so casually, sort of, you make it sound easy. Well, you just ask them some questions, right? But it's not asking the right questions at the right time and the right tone, right, with the right energy is really a skill. So, I mean, my assumption would be, and do you think this is fair to say, that the inability of many people to see the value, whether it's in the pricing specifically or in the work at all, maybe. Do you think that comes down to lack of understanding about what the work is, just lack of education, or do you think there's some other element at play there?
I think there are a couple elements at play. I think sometimes people don't know enough about the work, and then they don't know enough about what it takes personally for them to actually step into like how deep they have to go sometimes in order to really unearth the things that hold them back. And this can be something that goes really quick. It can take a little bit of time, but sometimes I think people underestimate what they need to put in order to really make the changes. I think that's one thing.
So if you had to think of sort of one fact, or it doesn't have to be a fact, but just interesting tidbit about, sort of your space, your world, that most people may or may not know, what kind of comes to mind, if anything?
An interesting fact is that a lot of it maybe is based on people's experiences. Like a lot of my experiences have given me a really rich foundation of how I value my work. And I think that is it's a very important fact, because that really is the connection that I can provide to people. And if that connection isn't there because it doesn't give a rounded picture, or you haven't gone through experiences yourself and have worked on them, it is harder to connect to people. So I think that's one fact that really makes a difference in how we're able to approach people. And when I look at my earlier business from a few years back, it was much lighter and brighter, and it didn't have the incorporation of where I'm at right now after going through some pretty hefty transitions and changes, and I have a different take on change now. So
and age brings some of that along too, right? So it's always evolving and changing. So probably a different workspace every time you step into it, right?
Yes,
I would
absolutely.
imagine. Yeah.
And it goes with a different level of willingness too. look at change and look at the things that hold us back.
Right. And personal change. I mean, speaking for myself, that's the hardest, right? I think it's obviously simpler to say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if those things were different, right? But when you have to affect change in your own self, ooh.
And sometimes change is really scary.
Right.
It's the comfort zone we're used to, even if it's not helping.
Right.
Even if it keeps us stuck, it's still what is known. So
right.
Change is not easy.
That's very true. What is something, other than calling Daniela, of course, would be maybe one little tip just to, I know you do like a mindfulness Monday. Is that kind of an easy way to get connected with you to start with and just sort of put, the toe in the water, so to speak?
Absolutely. I do a Magic Monday morning meditation, and that is every single Monday morning from 8:30 to 9. It's just a half hour. It's free, and you can easily sign up through my website with Calendly. There's a link there. You can sign up for all of them, or you can sign up just for one. But it's an easy way to get in touch with me, to see if the style of meditation that I do is for you, if you click with me, and then go from there. You can always reach out through email and through the website, browse through my website, embodyyourinnerpurpose.com, and just see if it speaks to you, and then reach out.
That sounds good. And we will recap that information at the bottom of the video and the post. So don't worry, but do sign up for those Monday sessions. I think that you'll be very, very glad you did. So Daniela, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Absolutely.
And
thank you for having
me. Hope to have you again soon. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.